I love you too, bitch. Like, yeah. I'm not recommending nothing that I'm about to tell y'all. Like, the big lesbian. So, not me using her name. I go into his phone. I wait till you jump on this, like, wildin'. So, I'm like... What's up, everyone? It's your girl, TheKyannaAlexandra, and I'm back on the screen. I'm back with another video. As you can tell by today's title, you guys actually picked this video. You guys said you wanted to know how I found out that my boyfriend was cheating on me, my ex-boyfriend was cheating on me, in an Instagram poll that I did. So we're just gonna hop right into this story time. Subscribe to my channel, turn on those post notifications, comment section down below. Let me know how you feel about it. And let me just tell y'all, because your girl's a little FBI agent, okay? I know it all right? So, let me tell y'all how I found this out. So beforehand, let me just say that, like, I've always had a suspicion that he was talking to other girls, and I was right. Like, during our 5.5-year relationship, like, I caught him talking to multiple women or girls, at the time, girls, you know, during our relationship. And this was like a high school thing. Like, we started in high school. We was both 15, 16 when we started, and we ended up, you know, at college. I had graduated college. I believe he was in his last year or second to last year of college, and I was 21 when this incident happened. So, like I said, throughout the years, I found out that he was talking to women, right? Or girls. But young me, because I was, you know, young and dumb and still wanted to be with him and XYZ, I let it slide, because he was like, I'm not gonna do it again. I was like, okay, right? Let it slide, right? And then there was this one incident when I did find out he was talking to a girl, and then he would try to cover with his friends, saying like, oh, I didn't have my phone, whatever, who cares, here nor there. But I just want y'all to, you know, understand the pattern where we're at, right? My boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, you know, Facebook was the thing back then. No Instagram, a little bit of Twitter, but Facebook was the hot and heavy thing back then, before all these little other social media apps came out. And there was a feature where you can hide things from certain people, right? So when I see him come up on my page, I'm like, oh, you know, my man, he's like, oh, I love you, boo, XYZ, all this other stuff, right? Somebody, I don't remember who it was, but somebody asked me like, oh, did you like see that status that he posted, is everything good? And I was like, what status? I was like, I don't see no status from him. And it's like, yeah, he posted XYZ. And I was like, huh? But again, I don't remember the status, but it was something like calm, nothing like too alarming, but I knew that I hadn't seen it. So I was like, nah, I don't see that on his page. Like, what do you mean? And so I'm like, okay. So I do some little digging, whatever, XYZ, get into his Facebook profile, and realize that I am blocked from certain things to see. So I can't like see certain statuses, or I can't see certain like updates that he puts, certain photos, whatever. So I'm like, the heck? Why am I blocked from this, you know? And this was just me of simply just like guessing his password to get in, right? Nothing, no big thing, no major, whatever. It was like my name and some numbers after it, something simple. So I'm like, okay. So I take off every single setting that he had. Like everything that had me blocked, I took everything off. I don't care if you noticed. I don't care. I took everything off, right? Because at this point I'm like, you about to do some shady junk and I'm about to catch you in it, right? So I take everything off and I let it rock. I don't say nothing. Chill, let it rock. I see the regular statuses come in, blah, blah, blah. Boom, right? So then I see like a photo of him and his lady, right? I say lady because lady. I see a photo of him and his lady, right? And I'm like, why she hugging up on him like that, right? Like, I don't understand why she on him like that. And it was like two photos, like one hugged up and like another one kind of like friendship-ish, but still enough to keep my wheels turning, guesses blowing, whatever. So I contact him like, yo, who's this? Who's Miss Ma'am? Who is Shorty? Like, who's that? And he's like, oh, that's just my friend that I work with, because he did have like a little cooking job back then or whatever. She's like, oh, that's my friend who I work with. I said, okay, why I hugged up like that? Why is she on you like that? He was like, oh, I don't know. Like, you know, I'm a friendly man. Like, my pop's from Florida. So, you know, Floridians is mad friendly. Like, we friendly people. And I'm like, okay, but she don't have to be hugged up on you like that. Like, you could be friendly and she don't have to be hugged up, right? And he was like, oh no, it's nothing. She's a lesbian. Like, it's really nothing. She don't like men. She like girls. So she's a big gay. Like, she's lesbian. So it doesn't matter. I said, alright. Cool. But like, can you just like chill out? Like, even though she gay, like, she don't have to be on you like that. Like, chill. Right? So he's like, so I see those 2 pictures. I keep them things in the back of my mind and keep it pushing. Right? Then I graduate college. I graduated in May of 2011. I know. And again, this is him going into his, I think he was going into his last year of school. Now that I'm really thinking about it, that it makes sense. So when I graduated, he was going into his senior year of college. So in his like summer of junior year going into his senior year, he did this like study abroad program, blah blah blah, and he went to South Africa. So he goes boom, right? And when he left, I was like, okay, cool, whatever, blah blah blah. It's gonna be a time difference when I get to speak to him and stuff like that, right? So the night or the couple nights before he left, because I'm really remembering, so the couple nights before he left, when Blackberries was still a thing and BBM was still popping, you know, I go into his phone. I'm not recommending nothing that I'm about to tell y'all. Like, anything I'm about to tell you, I do not recommend doing. Okay? This was me being young, dumb, and wanted to know what was going on because I knew something was up. So, go into his phone. I go into his Blackberry, and you know you can have a little picture, right, as a Blackberry thing. So with this little picture, I think it was like a cartoon or something, like real regular, not a picture of him or nothing like that, right? So I'm like, well, I'm about to change it to a photo of us kissing. Like, that's it, that's all. Because what's the problem if it's just us, right? So I go in and I change it to a photo of us. So his friend hit him up and was like, yo, what's good with you and urethra? I'm looking at this message like, what? And that was it for me. I was like, oh, that's it. Like, what's good with you and urethra? Either it was what's good with you and urethra, or are you and urethra over, something like that. And in my mind, I'm like, what the heck? Who is urethra? Like, what the heck is going on? So, man's come out the bathroom. Like, I leave the message and I don't say nothing about it. Nothing. I don't think I said anything about it. But I remember him going into his phone and looking at it and seeing the message and be like, yo, you changed my photo? And I was like, yeah. Like, what's the problem? And he was like, why are you in my phone? Why are you doing that? Da, da, da. So I said, who's urethra? Like, who's that? Like, what's going on? Who is that? He was like, I don't know what he's talking about. I said, what you mean you don't know who he's talking about? He's your friend. What are you talking about? He was like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't even know why he would say that. Like, just denying, right? And so we ended up getting into an argument. Because mind you, he's leaving for South Africa in like 2 days. And so he was going to see me and then hang out with his mom and then dip. So this was pretty much the last time I was going to see him until he got back. So he's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Da, da, da. Just telling me he don't know. We get into an argument. I remember at some point, like, he like bent my hand backwards at some point, some dumb shit. And I was like, what? Then he was crying, telling me he's sorry. All a part of the manipulation tactic, right? So he's crying, blah, blah, blah. I say, sorry, XYZ. He dips, right? And so now at this point in my life, I'm like, something's not right. Something is not right. Gets on a plane, goes to South Africa, doing his thing, la 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 la, right? So here me, I'm writing on his Facebook wall, babe, I love you, da 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 da, this and this and this, that and that and that, right? And he's like, I love you too, babe, da da da, it's us to the end, da 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 da, right? And then something in my mind was like, what? I don't know what, but something in my mind was like, how come, you know, like when you write something on somebody's wall and people will like it, and that, like, nobody was liking nothing. So I was like, what? Like, why is nobody liking nothing? So I find a way to get back into his Facebook account, pretty much guessing passwords again, 123 XYZ, and realizing that he had changed all of his settings. yet again. And so when he changed it, I think it was like I was allowed to write on his wall, but if I wrote on his wall, nobody could see it. Like nobody could see that I had written on his wall. So I'd be like, babe, I love you. He'd be like, yeah, I love you too, bitch. Like, yeah. But nobody else was seeing it. So to other people, I didn't exist. Feel me? So I go in and I'm like, okay. I keep everything the same. I don't do nothing because I'm like, I'm about to figure this out. Right? So I think he realizes that I was in his account and changes his password yet again. And now I'm trying and I can't get back in it. Right? Cool. Bet. Fine. Whatever. Right? I get into his email account that's connected to his Facebook. Baby, I got into the email account that was connected to his Facebook. Don't play with me. Like, and it was a still like same blase password, kind of 123, something like that. Something real regular. It was real interesting that you want to use my name, but you're cheating on me. Like, why don't you use your bitch name? What are you doing? Like, hello. So I get into his Facebook, right? And back in the day, Facebook used to send you emails of when you get notifications. I don't know if they still do that now, but they used to send you emails every time you get notifications. So like if somebody was to write on your wall, you get an email. If somebody was to send you a message, you get an email. If somebody was to like your status, you get an email. Or like that. Right? And I get into his email or whatever, and I see that there is mad messages between him and this woman. Ooh. Not me using her name. Whatever. There's mad like emails between him and this woman, right? We're just gonna call her C because her name starts with a C. And what you gonna do? Like, this is what happened. So I go into his email and there's mad messages between him and C, and I'm like, okay, but it's mad like Facebook things. But mind, this is things that I cannot see on his wall because remember, he blocked me from his wall and changed his Facebook password, so I can't get back into it. But I can see the emails right here, and it's things like, I miss you, I can't wait to see you, you know, you went to South Africa, like, when you gonna come back, or are you gonna get me this from South Africa, like, I like this, just talking to him real casual, like that is her man. And I'm like, who the F is this? Right? So I'm like, okay. And so I go snooping on his Facebook page, right? Trying to figure out who this woman is, because I don't understand like where she's coming from. But like I cannot for the life of me like see any of his friends. I think I was like blocked from seeing his friends list maybe, or like partially blocked from seeing his friends list. I don't know. But I think there was a certain point where I was allowed to see certain things that people will comment. Like if he posted a photo of like a zebra, people were like, oh my god, a zebra. So within something like that, I was like clicking people's profiles, like who is this, right? Just scanning profiles, seeing if anything was clicking, if anything made sense, right? Because at this point, like, I don't know who this person could really be. So between me looking at that and looking at this, I type in C's name and I look through C's profile. I don't see nothing about C. I don't see C having no girlfriend because she's supposed to be a big lesbian, so I don't see none of that. But I do see that C is from Urifita, Pennsylvania. So I go, oh, Urifita, are you and Urifita done? Are you and Urifita good? Oh, so that's a code name for C. Bet. That big nasty bet. Big bet, right? So I see that him and C, like after the looking at the wall and stuff, like after looking at the emails and stuff, I go keep going, keep digging, because I'm sure I'm gonna figure something out. Because like at this point, it's just little stuff. It's not OD, but it's little stuff. So I'm like, okay, let me go. And then some emails like correspond back and forth as if they were having like, you know, like the private messages on Instagram. So it was like that, and it was pretty much being like, I love you too, like I can't wait to see you, I miss you so much, when you gonna let me tarara tarara tarara, can't wait till you jump on this tarara tarara tarara, like wildin'. So I'm like, no way, y'all really together, like y'all really together. So I'm like, okay, you clearly with this woman, because this one was talking about everything in that apartment, like yo, because she was like, she had the keys to his apartment back then, right? And so that's how I knew they was really, you know, shucking and jiving. And she was like, oh babe, like I see these panties here, because mind you, when I was up there, I was leaving my stuff up there, because ain't no thing but chicken wing. Like if that's my man, I can leave my stuff anywhere, feel me? So she was like, oh, I found these panties, like what do you want me to do with them? And he's like, she's like, where they come from, what you want me to do with them, something like that. And he's like, oh, you could just throw them out, like they're panties from, like, I guess the previous owner that had some wild party, and I don't know, I just didn't throw them out. Da-da-da. And she's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, why are we so dumb? Like, what? Like, because in my mind, I'm like, I wouldn't believe that. But then he told me she was a lesbian, and I believe that. So I'm like, oh, okay. And so I read everything, and I wish I still had anything of that resort, but like I don't have nothing. So I read everything, and I'm upset, I'm hurt, crying, whatever. And so I do the stupidest thing that, you know, any young dumb kid would do, trying to get her man back. I hit Shorty up, and I tell Shorty what's that, and I go, hey girl, you don't know me, but I am X and X girlfriend, like what's up? I see the messages that y'all have between y'all. You talking about panties, those is my panties, like I see you've been talking to him for some time, da 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 da, like what, he's been playing both of us. This whole big paragraph, and Shorty just goes, well, you should let him go now, it's time. Yo, so I'm like, okay, all right. And long story short, after that, he finds out that I've texted her or sent her a message on Facebook, and then he hits me up being like, okay, so what you want to know, type shit. And I'm like, well, I already know you was spoken on her, like it's pretty much over between us, like you cheated on me. Mind just all while he's in South Africa. And so like while me and her had this like mini conversation, he sleep. So he wakes up to all this, and he's like, you know, my bad, Kay, like let's work this out. I'm like, nah, like you was with her, like why would you do that to me? Like if you didn't want to be with me, like you should have just left. And then your boys was covering for you, of course, like now I know who Urifida is, da da da. Like what the heck? That is how that ends. Like if y'all want part 2 to like what ends up happening after that, like sure, but like I was just being a dumb bitch after that, honestly. Like it's really nothing. But that's how I found out my boyfriend was cheating on me. Like, Urifida? Fuck out of here. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. Subscribe to my channel, turn on post notifications, and comment in the comment section down below. Let me know how you feel. Why does me do this? Let me know how you feel. If you would have done the same thing, something different. Again, I was young and dumb. I was like 20, 21. I was 21. So, young and dumb. But never doing that shit again. Like, I'm just dipping, okay? But yes, follow me on my social medias at TheKyannaAlexandra. Follow me on Twitter at TheKyannaAlex. Follow my website. Check it out, TheKyannaAlexandra.com. The Golden Egotist on Instagram. Check that out. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.